everyone, I'm Rebecca McLaughlin-Duane, and this week we have a show packed with inspiring women from the Middle East and North Africa who are blazing a trail and challenging stereotypes both professionally and personally. We'll meet with women from 3 different countries who have bucked convention, one by becoming a weightlifter. And another by pursuing a career in football. Inspires reporter Salim Essaid put on his shorts and trainers to pit his skills against the Saudi national.
I will take that criticism if I can make it easier for the next generation to follow.
But first, Elham Al Qasim is the first UAE national to reach the North Pole. And I got the chance to spend a day with her in temperatures she's very familiar with, the sub-zero environment of the only indoor ski slopes of the region. Emirati Elham Al Qasim has packed a lot into just 36 years. And it all started when, having studied in the States, she began competing in athletics nationally, earning gold medals in martial arts and free sparring competitions. She went on to secure degrees from the UAE and the UK before entering the world of investment banking. And then, in 2010, she became the first Emirati to cross-country ski to the North Pole unassisted. Her journey began on a floating Russian base in the Arctic Ocean, located at 89 degrees latitude. And the expedition was a grueling one, which lasted for 3 weeks and involved Elham skiing for around 12 hours a day, whilst pulling behind her a sledge of supplies weighing more than 40 kilograms. Having battled frostbite in temperatures of minus 30 degrees Celsius, she finally reached her goal and proudly placed her Emirati flag in the snow and sprinkled grains of Middle Eastern sand where she knelt. Elham is still mulling her next adventure, and in the meantime she's returned to the corporate world and she's busy raising her 3 young children. Whatever her next endeavour, it will probably reflect the meaning of her Arabic name in English, which is Inspire. Elham Al Qasim, thank you so much for speaking to Inspire Middle East.
It really is a pleasure.
Tell me a little bit about the expedition that you went on to the North Pole. What inspired you in the first place?
It really was about understanding my own limits, physical and non-physical, so mental and physical limits, in order for me to really push my own boundaries and sort of really be the best version of me that I could be.
Elham, you come from the warm, sunny climes of the United Arab Emirates. What inspired you to go to the cold?
Well, it was the fact that it was totally opposite to my home environment that inspired me. I didn't know how well I would do. I had no certainty of how I would manage the cold and whether I would thrive, not just survive in that environment on a sustained basis. I was looking for a challenge that had no guarantees on how I would do.
How did you prepare for the challenge? You obviously survived, but did you thrive?
So it was 5 months of training, and although looking back, it's funny, I trained hard physically, and there was some mental preparation as well. I had some coaching, and it was the mental challenge that was the one that really made the difference between succeeding and failing, and certainly made a difference between simply surviving and actually thriving.
That's very interesting. What was the biggest mental challenge, and what were you taught in terms of the coping mechanisms?
Well, I'd say first and foremost, everything that I was able to do at a regular temperature was extremely hard to do at minus 30 plus wind chill. And without the support of family and friends there to tell you to be okay, without an iPod to listen to as you're skiing 12 hours a day to motivate you, all you're left with is your own willpower. Yeah. And just the process of keeping warm itself is a huge challenge.
You must have had some pretty awe-inspiring moments along the way. Tell me about some of them.
Yeah, I saw beautiful colors, aqua, turquoise, and blue, and sculptures formed out of ice that almost looked artistic. And every little detail out there was beautiful and inspiring, just from a pure perspective of what nature produces when it's untouched. Yeah. Observing how the sun goes around you rather than over your head, because there's no night, so there's only day at that time in the North Pole. And then I think reaching the North Pole was probably the most inspiring moment. We had no certainty whether we would make it or not.
When you achieved what you did you feel in any way that you were challenging the Emirati or Arab stereotype of what women do?
I may have been challenging an outside-in perception of what Emirati women do. Emirati women are absolutely amazing in their intellectual depth and in their drive to make a difference. So in that regard, I felt I built off of what was already there. And I certainly felt like it was great in pushing the limits in order to make it just a little bit incrementally easier for everyone to do what they feel is right or good, even if it's outside the norm or the common practice.
Yes. Elham, thank you so much for speaking to Inspire.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. From one inspiring Emirati to another, Amna Al Haddad overcame much adversity to achieve her dream of becoming a weightlifting athlete. The Inspire team went along to hear about her Olympic ambitions and the hurdles she faced along the way.
Amna Al Haddad is driving the position of women forward in competitive sports. She started out her career at the age of 22 and as a professional weightlifter in 2013. She's the first Emirati and Gulf region national to do competitive weightlifting in a hijab, and since then has broken more barriers internationally.
And that's what changed my life.
Now retired from competing professionally, she's put down the weights and is lifting up other Arab women, so Amna and I went head-to-head to discuss the challenges women in competitive athletics are facing.
Stereotypes, gender, there's a lot going on about that with women empowerment these days. I think that, when I chose weightlifting as a sport, I never thought it's a masculine sport until somebody told me that's what men do.
Are there any restraints or considerations training with a hijab or with wearing conservative dress?
There is a lot of focus in the media right now about what women wear and doing sports. There's been a lot done recently about creating that choice for women to have a hijab, to wear a sports hijab while they're doing sports, and I think it's a great movement.
So what role does a community play in being a female athlete in the UAE?
When I first started my journey, it was very difficult to find the right infrastructure, the right coaching, and as a result of that, I actually had to coach myself, for that is not okay for someone who wants to train for the Olympics. Sometimes we have to go through things so that others don't have to go through it.
It's not just women in the UAE who are breaking barriers. Women all over the region are leveling the playing field, and Saudi footballer Saja Kamal is one of them. Being the odd woman out is something Saja is used to in Saudi Arabia. She started playing football at the age of 4 in a country that has strict rules about women playing sports publicly. Since then, she continued going against the grain, breaking 2 world records with a team of women, playing a 90-minute FIFA-regulated match at the highest point on Earth at Mount Kilimanjaro, then again at the lowest point at Jordan's Dead Sea. And she's not done yet. Saja has more plans to push the limit. I met her in Dubai to find out how.
Honestly, not much has changed in the sense of access and girls being able to play. A little bit has changed in the sense of now we have more gyms, but not really football.
Today in Saudi, women are still not allowed to play sports in public fields, wear shorts outside, and must have a male guardian's permission to travel. Despite these obstacles, Saja is focused on being a forward for change.
The main goal for me, at least, is a Saudi national team being formed, like a football team, getting that kind of recognition legally and officially on paper. We don't exist as players.
With a boyish haircut, tattoos, and a nose piercing, Saja doesn't claim to look like the world's image of a Saudi woman, as they come in many forms, but they all do share one thing in common.
Saudi women are very active, they're very bold and fierce and take on challenges. I think because we weren't given as many opportunities as men growing up, we always want to prove ourselves, so we fight harder and maybe we rebel and we're louder and we want to be heard. But since we're here, I think we should kick it so I can show you what Saudi women are really made of.
Let's do it. Saja is also taking her message off the field and online, posting her accomplishments on social media and rebranding what it means to be a Saudi woman. After being defeated a few times, I learned from Saja that being an internationally recognized woman pushing boundaries comes with a price.
I have been called things like atheist, lesbian, liberal, but I will take that criticism if I can make it easier for the next generation to follow.
And that's exactly what she plans to do. She says with the changes taking place in Saudi, like women being able to enter sports stadiums and more, Saja is hopeful that a professional Saudi women's football team will strike soon, and with impact. Also driving change for women in Libya is teenage speed racer Malak El Naas. From fast cars to motorbikes and even boats, anything mechanical and high speed is her sport. At 16 years old, Malak is one of the first women in Libya to race competitively.
There are some that ask, how can a girl play with motor vehicles? And how can a girl participate with the boys? My ambition in the future is to get better and better. Everything I tried to accomplish in my life, I did. All my dreams have come true, except for one thing, to be an airline pilot.
Since Malak started, more Libyan girls have developed an interest in mechanical sports. But the idea of women racing is still considered taboo.
This is a new idea in the streets of Libya. There isn't much of it. At the same time, it's dangerous a little bit for women. On the gentler sex, these sports are difficult for them.
But the young driver of change has found an ally. Her coach says despite traditional views in Libya, women should be able to compete.
It's not shameful, it's not forbidden. It can be practiced in a proper way, and the most important thing I advise Malak on is safety, but she's a little stubborn.
For this daredevil, cars, boats, and motorbikes are still not enough. For Malak, the sky is the limit.
Well, that's all for this week. Before I leave you, here's what caught the attention of the Inspire team on social media.
Yara, dubbed Egypt's only female rally driver, posted this clip with the hashtag #ChaseYourDream. And Syrian-American rapper Mona uploaded this shot of her fixing her boots, and one commentator to her Instagram page said they'll come in handy for breaking that glass ceiling.